Hello everyone. So today we are going to study about delegation event model in Java. So this is the brief description about delegation event model. So let's see. The delegation event model is defined to handle events in GUI programming languages. The GUI stands for Graphical User Interface, where a user graphically or visually interacts with the system. The GUI processing is inherently event-driven. Whenever a user initiates an activity, such as a mouse activity, clicks, scrolling, etc., each is known as an event that is mapped to code to respond to functionality to the user. This is known as event handling. So this is the delegation event model in Java. So let's see the event processing. Java supports event processing since Java 1.0. It provides supports for AWT Abstract Window Toolkit, which is an API used to develop the desktop application. In Java 1.0, the AWT was based on inheritance to catch and process GUI events for a program. It should hold subclass GUI components and override action method or handle event methods. But the modern approach for event processing is based on the delegation model. It defines a standard and compatible mechanism to generate and process events. In this model, a source generates an event and forwards it to one or more listeners. The listener waits until it receives an event. Once it receives the event, it is processed by the listener and returns it. The GUI elements are able to delegate the processing of an event to a separate function. The key advantage of the delegation event model is that the application logic is completely separated from the interface logic. In this model, the listener must be connected with a source to receive the event notifications. Thus, the events will only be received by the listeners who wish to receive them. So this approach is more convenient than the inheritance-based event model. In the older model, an event was propagated up the containment until a component was handled. This needed components to receive events that were not processed, and it took lots of time. So in this model, we can see there are four terms, which are the event source, event object, listener object and listener interface. So let's see one by one. Event source are nothing but the which generates events, and event source is the end user face or block. So events are generated by the event source like a button and etc. What are the events are going to generate through the event sources that will be created in event object or stored in the event object. So through the event object we send to the listener object whatever the changes are happened in the event source. That changes will be go to the listener object or when sent to the listener object. So that listener object will be implement the logic for events and the listener objects will be implement the logic of the event handling methods, and the listener object is used to handle the events whichever generated by the event source, and this registers is directly belongs to the event source. So the listener is registers by the event source registers the listener, and the registered listener will be directly called by the event source, and only registered listeners can be called by the event source, and remaining listeners are not able to or are not allowed to call. And the whatever the main whatever the common purpose like a button, suppose in a Java there have various types of applications. So in that applications, the button has a common thing. So the common thing or the common purpose will be declared in a listener interface, and the implementation of that common purpose will be given the listener will be implemented by the listener object. So this is the delegation event model. So this is the explanation of the delegation event model. And the advantages of listener event model. These are the advantages of listener event model: easy to learn and implement, clean separation between application and GUI code, strong compile time checking, flexible backward binary compatibility with the previous model. So whenever we use the delegation event model, so this will show the advantages of the delegation model. So for today we will stop here. Thank you so much.